One king had rivers of gold, another had the hearts of millions. When they clashed, only one empire survived.
The Rise and Fall of the Persian Empire, Part 4. The Conquest of Lydia and Babylon. By the mid-6th century BCE, Cyrus the Great had already defied the odds. He had risen from a small kingdom in Persia, overthrown his Median overlords, and united two great peoples into one empire.
But Cyrus didn't see an empire. He saw a beginning. To the west, the land of Lydia gleamed with wealth and pride. To the south, the mighty Babylonian Empire stood as the heart of Mesopotamian civilization. Two kingdoms, two legacies, and one rising power between them. This is the story of how Persia became unstoppable. The kingdom of Lydia, located in what is now Western Turkey, was ruled by a man known throughout the ancient world, King Croesus. He wasn't just rich, he was legendary. Gold flowed through the Pactolus River. Lydia minted the world's first gold and silver coins. Its capital, Sardis, was a marvel of ancient architecture, filled with treasure, temples, and towering fortifications. Croesus was admired, respected, but above all, he was confident, perhaps too confident. He had heard of Cyrus's victories over the Medes, and instead of negotiating, he mocked the upstart king from the Persian plateau. After all, Lydia had alliances with Egypt, military pacts with Greek city-states, and the wealth to fund any army. What could this Persian king possibly do? Cyrus, as always, acted quickly. In 54-7 BC, while Croesus was still gathering reinforcements, Cyrus launched his invasion of Lydia. His army moved swiftly across rough terrain, catching Croesus completely off guard. A decisive battle was fought near the Halys River. Croesus retreated, expecting Cyrus to halt for winter. But Cyrus wasn't a seasonal warrior. He pursued the Lydians all the way back to Sardis. Croesus fortified his capital, believing its walls were impenetrable. He had time. He had supplies. He assumed Cyrus would lay siege until spring. But Cyrus had no intention of waiting. In a bold and unexpected move, Cyrus ordered a surprise winter assault. His troops discovered a vulnerable slope behind the city. So steep, the Lydians didn't even bother guarding it. Under the cover of night, Persian soldiers scaled the cliffs and breached Sardis from the rear. The golden city fell. The battle was over. Croesus was captured and brought before Cyrus. Some legends say he was nearly executed by fire until he cried out to the gods, and a sudden rainstorm saved his life. Whether myth or fact, what matters is this: Cyrus spared him. He treated Croesus not as a prisoner, but as a fellow king. Some accounts suggest Croesus even became one of his advisors. This wasn't just a military victory, it was a diplomatic masterstroke. Cyrus had defeated a rich and powerful rival and gained the respect of his people. With Lydia absorbed into the empire, Cyrus now controlled one of the wealthiest regions in the known world. He didn't loot the land, he preserved its systems. Trade flourished, and Persian governance began to take root. But Cyrus wasn't done. His eyes turned south, to the ancient heart of Mesopotamia, to Babylon. Babylon wasn't just a city. It was a symbol, a cradle of civilization, a metropolis of immense cultural and religious significance. Its walls were so thick, chariots could race along the top. Its gardens, though debated by historians, were said to be among the 7 wonders of the ancient world. But behind its grandeur, Babylon was divided. The ruler, King Nabonidus, had alienated his people. He had spent years away from the city. He had angered the priesthood and neglected the gods of Babylon, especially Marduk, the chief deity. The people murmured. The priests plotted, and the army, once loyal, now questioned its king. In 539 BCE, Cyrus made his move. But this wasn't a reckless charge. It was strategic, measured, and calculated. His forces defeated the Babylonian army at Opis, northeast of the city. Then, in a masterstroke of military engineering, the Persians diverted the Euphrates River. The water level dropped, and under the cover of night, Persian troops marched through the dry riverbed, directly into the heart of Babylon. No walls breached, no temples burned, no streets soaked in blood. Babylon surrendered without a fight. And what happened next? Even more astonishing. Cyrus didn't demand tribute. He didn't punish the people. He restored order, honored their traditions, and respected their gods. He entered the city, not as a conqueror, but as a liberator. Shortly after the conquest, Cyrus issued a proclamation, not shouted from towers or etched in stone monuments, but inscribed on a humble clay cylinder. Today, we call it the Cyrus Cylinder, and its words changed history. In it, Cyrus declared the right of people to worship freely, the return of exiled peoples to their homelands, the restoration of temples and sacred institutions. Some call it the first human rights declaration in history. The Jewish people, exiled in Babylon, were allowed to return to Jerusalem, and to them, Cyrus was a savior. Even the Bible refers to him as a Messiah, a chosen one. By this point, Cyrus ruled more territory than anyone before him, from the Aegean Sea to the Zagros Mountains, from the Black Sea to the Persian Gulf. A vast, multicultural empire held together not just by armies, but by tolerance, organization, and vision. This was the height of Cyrus's rule, but not the end of his journey, because true kings don't rest. In his final years, Cyrus turned east, toward the steppes and nomadic tribes of Central Asia. There, in a distant and foreign land, he would ride into one last campaign, one last war, and he would never return. What happened to Cyrus? And who would inherit the empire he built? Next time, we follow the death of a king and the rise of his legacy. This was just the beginning. Watch the full story of Persia's rise. Subscribe to Tales Lost in Time and continue the journey.